And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the spaceship stream. You could be watching from anywhere around the country or the world, and I really appreciate it. Coming to you from the spaceship studios from a galaxy far, far away. And we have some interesting things to talk about, and this is a surprise live. And here we go. I'll be switching over to the other window for. All right, and the stream is out again. It's out again. Nice. Okay, I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, so hello, it's me, Alien Spaceship, and we're going to be playing a game while I talk about a variety of different topics, and also what we're going to do is we're going to go and talk about some trials and rehash things that we've been doing in the chat because there hasn't been a lot of stuff going on regardless. So any issues with the stream, whatever, let me know. And you all could be watching this as a rerun or watching us live. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to get into the chat in a moment to see if anybody is there. I don't know how well this will work, but if there's a problem, we'll just go to a phone live instead. Oh no, there's an update. Okay, so we can't do the game. That's nice. So I guess we're gonna have to just read some articles for pastime until people get here. Oh no, and the cat. All right, hello Bubbles. I reset the internet and everything too. So I don't know if it keeps buffering. I'll just do a phone live. It's unfortunate, but anyway. So just let me know how it goes. Hello, Danny. Good to see you. All right. So just going to read an article about the pirates. All right. Hello, Bubbles. You're famous. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome. Stream looks like it's out cold from the gears I'm seeing. No. It's good to see you, Danny and Rebecca. Everybody. All right. Let's talk about the golden age of piracy. Rebecca says, "How come you don't get random updates in movies?" Okay, Danny. Okay. Well, thank you. Well, Danny, thank you for hanging out with me for a moment. And Danny, I hope that you're having a good day and you have the rest of your day goes well and everything goes fine with you. All right. Yeah. Also, Rebecca, can you be a little bit more specific? She says, "How come?" I'm not quite sure what you mean exactly. If you could be a little bit more specific, thank you. I'm not quite sure. Is it moves or movies? I'm just maybe a typo. Let's go pet this cat for a moment. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I responded to you, Dwayne. I responded. All right. I'm gonna read about this pirate stuff. You know, because I played the pirate game, but we can't play the pirate game because we internet. I mean, the stream. The stupid game has to be updated again. You know, so I didn't check for updates. So like the computers and movies, when yes, Dwayne, thank you. And I see acknowledge your message, Dwayne, that you're in your office and about you can't be at the stream, but you told me hello. Thank you, Dwayne, for that. I appreciate you. Danny says that it is a little putty cat. Yeah. Rebecca says, like the computers and movies, when people hack other computers, they never ask for updates. So, okay, I get it, Rebecca. Thank you. That was funny. All right. The golden age of piracy was a period between 1650s and 1730s when maritime piracy was a significant factor in the histories of the Northern Atlantic and Indian Ocean. Histories piracy often subdivided the golden age of piracy into three periods: buccaneering period, approximately 1650 to 1680, characterized by Anglo-French seamen based on Jamaica; Marticia, Tortuga attacking Spanish colonies and shipping in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific to the Western Pacific. The pirate round 1690s associated with long distance voyages from Americas to rob East India Company targets in the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea. The post Spanish succession period, 1715, English sailors and privateers left unemployed by the end of the War of the Spanish Succession turned to mass piracy. English sailors and privateers left unemployed by the end of the War of the Spanish Succession turned to mass piracy in the Caribbean, in the Indian Ocean, in the North American eastern seaboard, and the West African coast. Narrower definitions of the Golden Age sometimes exclude the first or second periods. Most include this, at least some portion of the third, and modern conception of pirates as depicted in popular culture is derived largely, although not always accurately, from the Golden Age of piracy. So in Somalia and Africa, there's piracy still going on today, and not as frequently as it was 10 years ago or 15, 14 years ago. That's when it was really bad. But they had these oil companies that were taking oil from Somalia, and these ships that were passing by, and they felt they wanted to take power back from their territory, so they resulted into pirating the ships with these little tiny boats, little speedboats. Thank you, Dwayne, and I understand about you're not able to stay, but thank you. Factors contributing to piracy during the Golden Age include the rise of quantities of valuable cargoes being shipped to Europe over vast ocean areas, reduced European naives in certain regions, the training experience that many sailors had gained in Europe, navies, particularly in the British Royal Navy, and corrupt, ineffective government, European overseas colony powers at the constantly fought with pirates and engaged in several notable battles and related events. Origin. The oldest known literally mention of the golden age of piracy is from 1894 when the English journalist George Powell wrote about what appears to have been the golden age of piracy up to the last decade of the 17th century. Powell uses the phrase while reviewing Charles Liesel, A New Exact History of Jamaica, over 150-year-old. Powell uses the phrase only once. In 1897, more systematic use of the phrase golden age of piracy was introduced by historian John Frisk, who wrote, At no other time in the world's history has the business of piracy thriven so greatly as in the 17th century and the first part of the 18th. Its golden age may be said to have extended from about 1650 to about 1720. Fisk included the activities of Barbary corsairs in the East Asia piracy in the Golden Age, noting that the area these Muslim pirates in the Eastern Asia their busily work in the 17th century as of other time, their case does not impair my statement at the age of buccaneers was the golden age of piracy. Pirate historians at the first half of the 20th century occasionally adapted Frisk's term of golden age without necessarily following this beginning and ending dates for it. The most expansive definition of an age of piracy was that Patrick Pringle, who wrote the 1951 at the most flourishing era of the history of piracy, began to the region of Queen Elizabeth I and ended to the second decade of the 18th century. This idea starkly contracted Frisk, who had hotly denied such Elizabethan figures as Drake. Might update the game. I might update the game for a moment, as I should have updated it before. I'm just gonna get this over with. Okay. All right, we are back. All right. There might be some connection issues that might be going on. All right. So this is the. We're going to do this for a little bit, and then I'm going to read some stuff. All right. And yeah, he thought I was a middle-aged man. Scared. Scared. Moki's at the salon. Alright. Well, shout out to Moki. And hello, Lord Roan. And there might be issues. There might be some connection issues going on, but y'all could chat it in here if there's a problem, at least. Hello there, Joyce. Great to see you. Welcome. And Lord Roan. And hello, Moki. I know I was doing some update when you came to say hello to me. I was doing an update. So I am, just telling you hello now. I hope you have a good time at the salon. All right. You look absolutely stunning. All right. Oh, okay, Anna. Well, it's nice to have you here, and I'm great with tech skills. So, scared. I could help you out with those problems. It's great to see you, Joyce. Hello there. And is doing its thing. And Remy. Hello, Remy. I'm so glad to see you, Remy. Thank you for coming back. So I know, although we're still having some issues, with the connection, but, I'm glad that you still came here anyway. All right, so basically it was an interesting day with, there's no Karen Reed, and the other trial, the Law and Crime, stopped it from happening. They cut it off because it wasn't as popular. So, and then there is another stream that they found where they're able to go to for a little bit, but eventually they stopped it. I'm glad that you're able to make it. I'm glad you're able to make it, Anna. And Joyce, and everybody, thank you for being here. Law and Crime didn't have it, but there is another channel that was putting it up, but they disabled the chat. And everybody was triggered because we colonized. I know that's probably a triggering word to some people, but I mean it in a literal historical sense. We colonized a new chat room, but they cut the chat so we couldn't chat in there. Thank you, Remy. You are a gem. All right? You're a blessing to have here. They ended the stream, and then they bring the stream back up. Like, they cut the feed. Yeah, no, we do not know why there's no Karen Reed today. We do not know the reason. Scared. Scared. TJ, hello there. All right. I think that it's very good to, let's say, be able to chat in a trial, because these other channels, the other channels that we watch, I think that it's good they have a chat room. But, you know, when they cut the chat where people aren't able to chat in the chat room, I think that's completely wrong. And everybody was enjoying themselves. So I think that was very cringe for KC to do that to themselves. Very cringe, very cringe. So thank you, Joyce, for telling me which one had it on. Like the local station had it on. Yeah. They do that. You know, they do that. Yes, Anna. Correct. Yes, I started when I was around 10 or so. That's true. And yeah, I was around that age when I started. Back around like 2010, I started, I think. Something like that. 2009, I don't know. Something like that. I did gaming and stuff. Then I switched over to this stuff. So I like talking about aliens because it's something that my buddy and I from school used to do. And it's a lot of people on the internet are very fascinated with it. KR had explosive diarrhea. Scared. Also, I also have a baby face, like a youthful face. I'm 27. I have a baby face, which also makes me look younger. Although I'm 27, I'm not old, but still, well, depending on like from what perspective you're looking at it in. It's got something right. There you go. Scared. And also, yeah, I remember I used to do the game. I played the game, this like Game Boy, and I played the DS on here, and then I switched over to the other stuff. You know, because so this is what happened. I made a sound effect on my computer in 2017 of this alien. It was called Alien Spaceship Sound Effects. And what I did was it's going viral ever since 2017. Oh, thank you, Anna. Thank you. And it's going viral to this day. It has thousands of views, and it's been going. And people have made shorts of it. And the original name of the track was called Alien Spaceship Sound Effects. So I named my channel after it. And when I was taking courses about YouTube, about how you do a YouTube channel properly, they usually say people have to stick with one topic. So since I'm doing multiple topics, I made my channel a big name. So we have alien spaceship stuff like conspiracy theories and things like that, sound effects, and vlogging could be about anything, anything related. So that's why my channel is about everything. So that's one of the reasons why the name is so long. But I never knew when I was starting the channel, when I was renaming the channel, that I would be on live streams and chat rooms. I never knew about that until later. That's, and the name's so long. I would have still made the name long, but I never really knew that when I was starting that. Hopefully BK can find himself here. As I said, if something happens with the internet, y'all could still chat in the chat room. You know. Or I could do a phone live. Alright, this is the creepy haunted island. Scared. Oh, that's great, because I'm all into the conspiracy theories about aliens. Definitely. I have tons of, also about Planet 10, Planet 9. I've also done stuff like that. So there's this planet that allegedly exists outside of our solar system called Nibiru, Planet 10. Wasted. Hello, Shell. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. I'm glad that you appreciate my maturity. Shell, it's great to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, Nibiru. Hello, BK. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome. Yes, indeed, BK. Yes, indeed. Hello, BK. There is some, you know, I'm glad to see you here, buddy. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being a subscriber. I appreciate it. Hello, Space Cadets. We're playing a game for a little bit, and then we're going to get into the other stuff as well. And yeah, so Diddy today is in, the trials going on, and they kept on repeating the same tweets over and over again. And I'm glad that we have. I'm glad that we have at least we have some updates coming from the Diddy trial, but it's like, as I said, it's not. I wish we could have the cameras in the courtroom, and Brian Steele is the attorney of Diddy, and I never said anything, but I thought he would be Diddy's attorney because Diddy saw how well he did with YSL, and I still like Brian Steele, and he's a brilliant attorney, and he has a good chance with Brian Steele. Okay, although he may not win, he has a good chance of Brian Steele. Alrighty. Oh yeah, I know, Joyce. You're not a big fan of the Diddy trial. I know. Yeah, but as I said, it's just because on the screen they'll show these little updates, and it's like it'd be nice if we were in there. And I agree with Jesse Weber. Tom says, "Oh man, Steele wouldn't take a case he knows he wouldn't lose." Hello, Tom. Good to see you. And shout out to Tom. Earlier, he was able to get everybody together over at that other channel, and we took it over until they destroyed the chat feed, and we couldn't talk there anymore. But Tom was great at getting everybody gathered and bringing us over there. So shout out to Tom. You did great today. Yeah, and no Karen Reed. She must have had explosive diarrhea. And she was out on the toilet the whole day. Scared. Oh, Steelwell's attorney did a great job too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Tom's the man. Yeah. Yeah, people thought I was older than my age is. I'm 27. I'm 27 is the age. All right. Scared diarrhea. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Great to see you, buddy. Hello, Frog. Oh, I'm glad to see you here, buddy. Welcome. Oh, thank you. Thank you, BK. Thank you. Shout out to Frog. Now, I don't see Frog's chats in Law and Crime for some reason, but I'm glad to see him here subscribe to me. I appreciate that. All right. All right, here we go. Yeah, GTYS to you. GTSY, rather. That's probably what it is. All right. Come on. Fixing up the ship. Scared. Shout out to Remy. She's a trooper for bringing the people here. Facts. Oh, they're about to attack me. Here we go. At the last second, I dropped anchor right before the ship exploded. Scared. Alright, let's go to the island. Usually the less hostile island's over here. Over in Cuba. Shout out to the people speeding. BK, Anna, and Frog, welcome to the channel. And shout out to Remy of being the OG for the day. She's always an OG, but especially today. Wow. What they do, Sharon, is during a break or during lunch, they cut their feed and they have to start a new one over. And also they disabled the chat. We were all in there, and they wouldn't disable the chat on us, and we couldn't talk in there anymore. But that was pretty cool. We took over that channel. Scared. And this game is the Legend of the Pirates of the Caribbean online. It's called the Legend of Pirates Online. That's what it's called. Yeah, absolutely a badass, definitely. Oh, really? Oh, really? Lord Roan. I didn't know about that. Interesting. And I think that aliens, a lot of aliens could be angels from a religious point of view. I think that they Could be things from other planets that may not have our best interest. We were going over some alien theories yesterday from Moki, and it was pretty interesting. Alright, some buffering. Alright, Mary Toodles, thank you. Scared. Hello, Mary Toodles. It's great to see you. Hello there. All right. So basically that is what we were doing over there with the trial. Yeah, I think it's completely disgusting for him and anybody in his family or friends that were not involved with this that have to hear what he did. So disgusting. So disgusting. Scared. Scared. Hello, Cecil. Good to see you, buddy. All right. Yeah, so GSI 8 and I were talking about the beaches. We're talking about a couple different beaches, and I was telling her about the beaches from Croatia that we were talking about a couple of streams ago, and she agreed that, from what she heard, it's a nice beach over there. And Remy said, so crazy, imagine the entire world knows how you get down. Yeah. Scared. Oh, you have to get some cat food off the porch. Oh, okay. Thanks, Cecil. Thank you. We're talking about a couple of different alleged races of alien species, some of the reptilians, a couple of the greys and stuff. So yeah, it was quite interesting. Quite interesting. Hello, Five Cats. Great to see you. We're having a turbulent stream, but we're still hanging in there. I've been here for 40 minutes. Wow, I didn't know that. Well, I'm going to get scared. Oh, Remy Naz, I cannot imagine the STDs. The STDs must be through the roof. Hilarious, Tom. Hilarious. There is actually some clouds over. I see some clouds right now. And Remy says, listen, no shame, no judgment, but these guys are off Craigslist. Lord! Lord! Sheesh! Sheesh! Holy Jesus. Scared? Yeah, Remy, that is from the pit of hell. From the abyss. Good Lord. Timu discussed. Right there. Timu discussed. Let's go Dodgers. Hey, bro. Good to see you, buddy. I know, but right now I see a cloud. It's kind of cloudy right now. Yeah, maybe it's something. You see, Louisiana's unique, and it has some stuff about it that has some problems. Oh, okay, okay. We're just gonna stay on the island then. So it's something going on in the city in general. Well, it'll come back up. It's just the city's having some problems. I don't know why it does that here in this area. Judah, OMG, you have to watch the recaps. It's wild. This girl went on Craigslist, found naked escorts, and let them wee in her mouth. Sheesh. Sheesh. Alright, Frog. Understood, buddy. Yeah, so we have Diddy being creepy. And he is doing that with Brian Steele. Well, I didn't mean to say it like that, but with Brian Steele he has as an attorney, to defend him. Which will be interesting to see how his cross goes. I personally think that people should have the trials televised. They shouldn't be sequestered like this because people need to know what's going on. Hello, Eugene. Good to see you, buddy. Hello, welcome. Gracious greetings. All right. All right. Now, let's see about the. Oh, there's a ship called the Queen Anne's Revenge. So it's the name of Anna in the chat. All right. So let's see about there's any Diddy updates. Hello, Under a Rocket. Good to see you. All right, let's see about Diddy. During all the nastiness of his. I agree. All right. This is from 3 minutes ago. All right. Ventura describes the pattern that most freak-offs followed. Most of the freak-offs followed a similar pattern, Casey Ventura testified. It was established pretty early in doing the freak-offs that Sean enjoyed a lot of conversations describing. She said, they're bothered about his get like a year in open prison, I reckon. Scared. Ventura said, all right, let's go connection. Yes, thank you. I know I froze. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So from here, I'm going to talk about the Diddy updates from this other device. All right. Let's do this right here. All right. I thought about her elderly father, the first whistleblower. Hello, Silver. Good to see you. Oh, hello, Aaron. All right, happening now. Casey Ventura on the stand. Casey Ventura, the former girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs and other accusers, testifying in his federal criminal trial, she described Combs as controlling and said some of their arguments would get violent and result in physical abuse, leaving her with injuries and bruises. Graphic video. Jury has viewed hotel surveillance footage from a acceleration between Combs and Ventura in 2016. Hilarious, BK. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that include racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation. To engage in prostitution, if convicted, all counts, he could face life in prison. Ventura describes the pattern that most freak-offs followed. Most freak-offs followed similar pattern. Casey Ventura testified. It was established pretty early on during the freak-offs that Diddy enjoyed a lot of conversations and describing. She said of her former boyfriend, Sean Diddy Combs. Yes, Aaron. Amen. Yes. Ventura said a freak off would typically start with oil and touching. After, she said participants would engage in oral sex before progressing intercourse. It was like a gradual process, she said. Ventura said she would often ask Combs if they could move to the next act of the pattern. She said she wanted to speed the process. I'm sure them freak-offs also known as daily life. Yep, absolutely. Ventura said she would often ask Combs if they could move to the next act in the pattern. She said she wanted to speed the process. He was controlling the whole situation. He was directing, she said. And after a short break, Casey Ventura got on the stand. After a short break. Yes, I'm still alive, Zero. I'm still alive. I checked out what you were showing yesterday. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Under a Rock. It is very sad it went on for so long. Zero, I don't. If you're mentioning something that the spaceship one, I've not really publicized it yet, but I don't really mind. But there's just like nothing really there. But I'll go later. I could send you it. Although I've not invited people there because if people cannot, you are fine, Zero, but people cannot act stupid in there whenever it's released. And I would have it have to be would be monitored. So as I said, uh, that the Discord thing is not like in session right now. Thank you, BK. Thank you. Attorneys explain why Ventura testimony about freak-offs in multiple states is important. All right, so when they have a witness, when you have a trial, and what the prosecution will do, they'll talk about multiple people that were assaulted or hurt. So they will go and give the jury more clarification why it's good to find the person guilty, because if there's multiple people coming forward, it'll give the jury more confidence that the defendant is guilty. Oh, it's not a Discord server. It's a YouTube channel. It's called Law and Crime Trials. Yeah, you could go for it. Yeah, you could go there. You're welcome. Freak offs in multiple states is important. Aaron, they take down the stream because they think people are not interested in it. Not enough viewers. Scared. Prosecutors are trying to use Casey Ventura's testimony to prove to the jury that the crimes that Sean Diddy Combs is accused of happened in multiple states, one lawyer said, which gives the federal government jurisdiction. In the order of the case to be brought to federal court, prosecutors have to be able to show that the alleged crimes occurred in multiple states. Bob Beinacci, a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, told CNN. I've seen them trials also. Combs' former girlfriend testified that some escorts participated in freak-offs in multiple states. She also said that she would tell Combs' travel agent hilarious, Zero and Remy, hilarious. Combs' former girlfriend testified that some escorts participated in freak-offs in multiple states. She also said she would tell Combs, a travel agent, that she would need to arrange travel for the new staff members when she needed to fly escorts for an encounter. In order for the federal court to have justification over the prosecutors, U.S. attorneys, they have to be able to show that this was enticing, harboring, that there was either enticing, harboring, or transporting, or new, or advertising, and it's traveled into interstate commerce. Beinacci said, enticement when people travel between multiple states, he said. You're welcome, Five Cats. It's my pleasure. Scared. Ventura said freak-offs were held at both here and Combs' house, in addition to hotels in New York City, Miami, Los Angeles, and Atlanta, Las Vegas, Ibiza, and Turks and Caicos. Okay. Take NY Cherry instead leave BK. Scared. Ventura asks if it's okay to take a quick break. The court is taking a quick 10-minute break after Casey Ventura asked if it was okay to take one. Ventura will continue her testimony when the court resumes. Who's next? Growls as my fangs drip with saliva. Hilarious, Zero. Ventura says she took all kinds of drugs to dissociate and numb herself. Casey Ventura testified that she used drugs at every freak off and took all kinds of drugs, including ecstasy, weed, and mushrooms. For me, it was dissociative and numbing. I couldn't imagine myself doing any of those things without having some sort of buffer or just a way to not feel what really was, she said. Oh, Anna, okay. Understood, Anna, but thank you for being here, and I appreciate you hanging out with me when you're able to. Combs provided drugs, and sometimes his staff would drop them off, she testified. Someone would drop off drugs to me whenever I was, Ventura said. She testified that she took more narcotics every few hours during the freak off when the high would wear off. Some escorts participated in freak offs in multiple states. Some escorts participated in freak offs in multiple states. Prosecutor Emily Johnson is showing photos of some of the escorts who participated in freak offs. Some of those pictured participated in freak offs in multiple states, Casey Ventura testified. Ventura said that the escort's travel was sometimes coordinated by her, sometimes by travel agent for Sean Diddy, Combs' company, and sometimes by escort himself. Yes, Moki's getting her hair done. Very good, yes. Ventura said that the escort's travel was sometimes coordinated by her, sometimes by travel agent for Sean Diddy, Combs' company, and sometimes by escort himself. Ventura said the escort's travel sometimes coordinated by her and escort by Diddy himself. Ventura testified that she would tell Combs, the travel agent, arrange more travel for the new staff members for the freak-offs. Oh, okay, Zero. Thank you. The sun went off. It pewed. Ah, okay. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to Anna Rising. Rising. Happy birthday. Ventura says Combs wanted her to check if an escort was a cop. Casey Ventura described how she would vet new escort if they hadn't used them before. Sean would want me to clarify if the person was a cop, she testified. I learned that this whole situation was now not legal, Ventura said. He remarked proponent judge Aaron Subramanian to tell the jury to disregard the comment about legality in the freak-offs. Mary Toodles is with the cats right now. Maybe she'll pop in a little bit and tell us hello again. A new escort, if they hadn't used them before, Sean would want me to clarify if the person was a cop, she testified. I learned that this whole situation was legal, Ventura said. Her remark promoted Judge Arun Subramanian to tell the jury discarded from the comment about legality of the freak-offs. Zero starts the chant, Lord. Alien, 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 alien. Yes, it's a German name. Rising. Escorts were paid up to 6,000, Ventura said. Casey Ventura said escorts were typically paid between 1,500 after the freak-offs. She often handed them the money, although it was provided by Sean Diddy Combs. She said sometimes the cash was brought to the location by Combs security. Also, my name is German. My name's Hansel, and it's a German name. It's pronounced in German Hazel, like kind of like Hazel. Oh yeah, Roxy. Hello there. Yeah, you gotta do special things to get a wrench. That's true. Yeah. 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 So let's do this right here. Shout out to Roxy for being here. Thank you. Okay, and then the escorts were almost always men, with a few exceptions, according to Ventura. Ventura explains how she found male escorts in Combs' direction. Casey Ventura testified that Sean Diddy Combs tasked herself with finding escorts for the freak-offs, and she noted that escorts to the freak-offs, and she knows had very specific physical requirements for men. Ventura said she finds escorts by responding to ads on Craigslist and back page of the Direction. You see, this is about the Craigslist. The jury is now reviewing the text messages, conversations between Ventura and the man she said would facilitate the escorts. He would send her photos, and then men could hire, as she said. Yes, Roxy got a shout out. Yep. Combs had to approve the escorts, she testified. I definitely had to show him. Ventura said she would talk with the escorts before they participated to try to make them more comfortable. I would say that my husband is into something called voyeurism, and he likes to watch me with another man. Now, the thing with another man, I'm gonna be graphic, everybody. So we're all adults here that are quite far out there, so it shouldn't be a problem. But if there's youngsters watching, just close their ears for a second. All right. So there's something called when someone's turned on, when a woman's with another man. It's called being a cuck. That's what that kink is. That's what they're into. That's their name of it, cuckold. It was just like basic conversation I had with most escorts, and from there I would get a feel if they were willing to do that or not. Hilarious, Zero. Anna, I do not mind you. All Gretel lives matter. You're fine, Anna. It doesn't bother me. Shout out to the older Gretels out there. I don't mind them on the spaceship. All right. Oh yeah, Lord Roan. I know some of y'all are familiar with that. Yeah. Hilarious, Aaron. Scared. Get feel they were willing to do it or not. Ventura said Combs would usually be in the other room during these conversations, but be able to hear him. I've been having some Timu allergies going on, so with my eyes gonna be changing colors now because my eyes are watery. Zeppin Pie is going wild in Diddy trial. Why is the wire wrapped and taped? Do you need me to fix it? Thank you. Yeah, bless myself, yes. I don't quite know what is wrapped in tape, but yeah, sure, you could fix it, Zero. Thank you. Thanks. All right. Ventura said Combs would usually... Ventura said Combs would usually be in the other room during these conversations, and he would be able to be heard them. Legal analysts. Thanks, Joyce. Oh, awesome, Anna. Rock on. Rock on, yeah. Definitely. I'm into that. Awesome. Roxy said... Casey said Diddy would make her apply baby oil to every 10 minutes because she would get dry. Yeah. Oh, I read that earlier. Yeah, she needed the baby oil because she would get dry, and yeah, it was so cliche. That's what was recently said in the trial. The last time I read it was that he would have to that he would be very smooth and soft and slow with his baby oil. I'm like, this is so cliche, man, about the baby oil stuff. Yes, you are Zero. That's true. Legal analyst Ventura's testimony about power dynamics between her and Combs speaks to corrosion allegations. Casey Ventura has spent the afternoon testifying in part about the power dynamic between her and her former boyfriend, Sean Diddy Combs, as it relates to the sexual performance known as freak offs, which Ventura's testified she felt she could not say no to. Thank you, Zero. You're a trooper. Aaron, her name is Anna. I'm gonna finish reading this and I'll answer your question. I'll be glad to answer it. I'll even pin your comment. All right. Now the stream could go out for a moment because I'm pinning a comment. It gets shocked. All right. And so I think the prosecution is attempting to establish that because the power dynamic between she felt that she could not say no, that she unlimitedly had to say yes, he added. CNN legal analyst Joey Jackson, CNN, the prosecution focuses on power dynamics during Ventura's testimony, is about constant whether or not she was on board with it or whether she was coerced. Thank you, Roxy. I appreciate that. Thank you. Are we there yet? Scared. As a result, that Jackson added, now you have your coercion. Now you have your inducement. Now you have your compelling her to engage, and this even if she did not explicitly say no. Oh yeah, Zero. Roxy has the prize cherries. Absolutely. TJ said, "Oh no, I would have been saying, be able to say, I would have been able to say no if someone is urinating on me." Scared. Prosecutors allege Combs created a criminal enterprise using his business empire when he engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice, accused by coercing at least three women, including Ventura, to engage in six acts with him during the so-called freak-offs. When they talk about the pipe, that's a D. Scared. Jackson added that he thinks the defense may argue that Ventura did not explicitly indicate that she wouldn't participate and that she helped to arrange, orchestrate the organizing of the freak-offs almost a decade. That's insane, chat. For a decade, she could do these freak-offs and be urinated on. All right, all right, all right. So I got something funny. So chat saying, I think that's why. Did she say something before that? Yeah, that's funny. Silver and Tom. That's hilarious. Somebody pees on me, I'm gonna do a bobbit on them. Scared. All right. Now I'm gonna. So there's a request about time travel. All right. So we're gonna talk about that. All right. So regarding time travel. All right, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Also, so basically, what happened was with chat is that time travel. That's the question. Alien. Any thoughts on time travel? That's what I want to go back to the '60s. All right. A rock in Scotland, if you put your hands on it at the right time, I think a day after Halloween, it'll send you back somewhere, but no control. Thank you, Zero. Thank you. So basically, what happened with the time travel originally, it was thought that you cannot do time travel because we're in the present, and that scientists were saying that it was impossible for it to happen. Also, religion, with religion and stuff, I don't know what religion thinks about that exactly, but this atheist was telling me that both religion and science both agree that time travel can't happen. Now, I think if you go to a certain speed, you would be able to do that. So I think that perhaps in the future, it is possible, hypothetically, that time travel could happen. And there's this certain scale. Pull up the name of it. Yeah, flower power. Right. The Kardashev scale. So there's something called the Kardashev scale. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. And it shows society's advancement over different levels. And there's a certain level, possibly in the future, say like you could get solar panels around the sun and harvest all the sun's energy. And also then you could harvest the energy of other stars and other universes. So there's a possibility at some point everything will be intersync with each other. Zero said this hits the screen. I had the same problem when I was in Louisiana. I don't get it. It must be the voodoo. Yeah, yeah, Zero. Okay. He had the problem with it too. Okay. So basically, with time travel, I think that maybe in some very distant future, when people be able to figure out how to tap into these different dimensions, and a lot of it's wave frequency and wavelength and frequency people have with each other, as humans adapt over time, it perhaps could happen. But the thing is, they say with time travel, Kardashev. That's close enough. Okay. So Yeah, whatever it could be. It could be cosmic or scientific, whatever you want it to be. So, in the cosmic sense, it can occur. We just don't know how we could do it yet. And if you go in the past, there's a theory that if you touch anything, so if you touch anything, it could completely alter the time zones, not time zones, but alter the time continuum. And it could completely change all of history if you were to go back in time and you touch something, it will completely alter everything. Yes, Joyce will probably beam you up. Scared. Right, so I think it's possible in the future, and maybe they've done it already. There's a theory that aliens might be time travelers. That's another theory. So, I do think it's very possible, but we just don't have the technology for it at the time. Zero said there is something known as an attractor field and something else known as a prime perception. Ah, okay, thank you. I I kind of hard to do when I'm the only one left at my department for the day. The Mandela effect might be a result of people time traveling. Ah, yes. Thank you, Eugene. I forgot to mention that. So there's something called a Mandela effect where I'll explain it. So we're going to open up this other window and explain it. And if something bad happens at the connection, we'll, use the other device to talk about it. All right. Hmm. I have to close this window down. All right. All right. We're going to go here. Go here instead. Let's go and try to look this up. I know the internet's having some problems. All right. Let's go back here. Shout out to the spaceship cats. It's going to take a moment. All right. Looks like we're still hanging in there. All right. All right. So say over here. So you have the Monopoly dude, and he doesn't have a monocle in one, and he has a monocle in the other. And then you have the Kit Kats that are kind of different. Then you have like Pikachu, which is this Pokemon character, and one thing he has a tail, and the other one he doesn't have a tail. So like something like we'll say looks like we all remember collectively the Monopoly guy having a monocle, but he actually never had a monocle. So something's not right there. Or stay with the Flintstones. It looked different than it actually was. And we all remembered it wrong. Then you have this, where Fruit Loops, it looked we all remember it looking a certain way, but it actually looks a different way. Yes, Zero, I remember on the show you talked about it before. Yes. Yeah, everything tastes better back then, that's true. Oh, I love Kit Kats too, dude. Absolutely. This one hits home for me. I remember Fruit of the Loom having the cornucopia. I was getting my mom a gift on a field trip, and I remember it had the cornucopia on it. You grew up with the Flintstones. Oh, Anna, AI brought the Flintstones to life. So they took the cartoon and they made them look like real people. Oh, also the cartoons, like I watched growing up, like Jimmy Neutron, the Teenage Robot, and let's see, all these old shows from the 2000s. They made them look like real people. And also the ones from the Flintstones and stuff. Like that. Your mom never bought the good cereals? Scared. And also with the Disney princesses, there's these really cool ones where they bring them to life. They look like real people. In the white room, you see nothing because of fluoride. A Chex of Rice Krispies. All right. All right, let's go to the Kit Kat. Yes, I'm 1998. That's true. And you're 1963. Okay. Yes, okay. Shout out to the 20th century. We both came from. Yeah, so that's the Kit Kat, but they actually looked a different way than we thought. Lord Roan says 78. So yeah, that is the Mandela effect. It's just like remembering things a certain way, but they weren't what we thought they were. All right, so you have one with a monocle, one without the monocle. So that's basically what the Mandela effect is. You know, with the monocle, did he have it or not? So that's like the Mandela effect. And the reason why I say this is because that might be from time travelers. Oh, all right. So now we're going to the Mandela effect explained. The reason why I mentioned this, it could have to do with time traveling. The Mandela effect is a type of false memory that occurs when many different people incorrectly remember the same thing. It refers to a widespread false memory that Nelson Mandela died in prison in 1980s. Memories are not always precise recordings or events. They can change with time, and people may have different memories in different contexts. Memories also have suggestible means that people's opinions and memories may influence their personal members. Thus, widespread incorrect information can subsequently influence individual memories, giving rise to conspiracy theories. Oh, okay, Zero. Thank you for being here, buddy. Peace, bro. All right, Joyce, I'm going to zap you back to 21. Consider it done. Thus, widespread incorrect information can stubly influence individual memories, given the rise of conspiracy theories and harmful beliefs they claim. But let's see what the Mandela effect is exactly. The Mandela effect is a group of people misremembering a historical event or person. Writer and researcher Fiona Brome coined the term over a decade ago when she created a website detailing her recollections of a former South African President Nelson Mandela, dying in prison in 1980s. You're welcome, Joyce. Nelson Mandela did not get deleted in prison in 1980s. After serving 27 years in prison, Mandela became president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999, and he was deleted in 2013. Despite the Brome remembered international news coverage of Mandela's deletion in 1980s, she found other people who shared these false memories. All right, Lynn. One thing I want to say, hello, Lynn. It's good to see you. You were here earlier. I don't know if I told you hello or not, but I'm glad you're here with us, Lynn. And I hope to, see you around and stuff. That's great. Good you're here. But yeah, you could be 21 too. Consider it done. Example, here are a few famous examples of the Mandela effect. Okay, Regina, thank you. I do lives during the day for the trial chat people sometimes. And we all hang out here sometimes. Oh, yeah, throughout the week, I'll do them during the day sometimes. But, Regina, thank you for being here. All right, understood. Luke, I am your father. Many people misquote James Earl Jones' famous line from 1980s film Star Wars episode The Empire Strikes Back. Instead of Luke, I am your father, Darth Vader actually says, no, I am your father. Bernstein Bears. Many fans of popular children's series of Bernstein's Bears remember the Bears family name as Bernstein after authors. In reality, both the Bears and the authors named are Bernstein. All right, Lynn. Monopoly monocle. What did the Monopoly man look like in the game of Monopoly? Many people assert had a monocle and cane. Okay, Silver. Wish granted. You'll be 21 with the wisdom you have now. That's a very good point. Everybody will have the wisdom that they have now, but they'll be 21. So he did not have a monocle. This provided evidence of visual Mandela effect. Although I remember him with a monocle. I remember it like yesterday. Play it again, Sam. In Cast a Balance. Another Hollywood classic people remember Humphrey Bogart's character Rick saying, play it again, Sam. Some people say they can even hear his voice saying those words. However, Ingrid Bergman's character Elsa says, play it, Sam. Hilarious under a rocket. Hilarious. Sinbad's Shazam. Exactly, TJ. He did have it. Exactly. Some people who grew up in the 80s and 90s reported on a movie called Shazam in which Sinbad played a genie or other magical characters fulfilling childhood wishes. Whoa, synchronicity, everybody. I'm talking about granting everybody 21, and I'm coming across the Mandela effect about a movie about a genie. Scared. Our Knox Monopoly game had a monocle. Exactly. It did have a monocle. Memory is highly malleable. Input from people can change memories, causing people to misremember events or remember events that not happened. Potential causes of Mandela effect include false memories. Hilarious, Regina. Ah, come on. Might be time for coffee. Scared. That's hilarious, Regina. Hilarious. BK said, I wish I had known as much back then as I do now. I want a Timu cup. False memories. False memories are untrue or distorted recollections of an event. Some false memories contain elements of fact closely resembling the actual event in question. However, others are entirely false. All right, Silver, understood. Thank you for being here, Silver, though. I appreciate you. Memory is suggestible. This means that information from another person, a person's desire to believe something different or false information online can influence memory, which is not true. We just all remember collectively. People can believe a wide variety of false things. For example, scientists have been able to falsely introduce memories of committing a crime in one study. People could not distinguish false from real memories. Hello, Moki. Welcome. Researchers have even discovered a simple method including false memory called D. Rogers something paragram. Okay, I'll tell you all right now, the Mandela effect is true. All right, in my opinion. Now, Marie likes to argue, this is another user, that there's like a false memory. There could be a false memory. That's possible. In a lot of situations, I think that's true. But there's just something going on here that I think is going on. Oh, there's the co-pilot Stranded, the daytime co-pilot Stranded. Hello, Stranded. I'm delighted to have you here with us. We're talking about a variety of different things with Diddy, and also we're talking about time travel, and the Mandela effect might be a product of the Mandela effect. It's Looney Tunes. Yeah, because there's Looney Tunes Mandela effect. Diddy is singing. That's true. Yeah. All right, Regina. Facts. Yeah. Wink. Hello, fun, great, tons of fun carvings. Good to see you, buddy. Yes, you are correct. Under a rocket, that's true. An oxymoron is a a figure of speech meaning paradox with a point, which is how it was taught us mutts in my school days. Oxymoron is not literal expression; they are literal contradictions in terms. So it is it's a contradicting memory. That's a way to analogy you could use it in. Yes. Joyce said, "I am just lucky to remember why I walked into the kitchen these days." Hello, Abby. Great to see you in here. I'm glad you're trolling. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Researchers have even discovered simple methods, all right, including participants to relate the words such as zebra, monkey, whale, snake, and elephant. After reading the list, researchers will ask the participants whether or not they recall a lure word, which is related to a word not in the list. Usually, the participants will recognize the lure word and recall reading it even though it was never on the list. Yeah, Abby. I see you. All right. Confubulation. Confubulations are false memories. Our person spontaneously generates often to compensate for holes in a person's memory. For example, a person who does not recall what happened to Nelson Mandela might conclude that he was deleted a long time ago, which, as I said, I disagree with that. I think that people just really remembered it a certain way. I fell off a tree once, and I remember doing it before when I hit the ground. That was weird. Yeah, exactly. And also there's different things about different dimensions, and there's possible what I'm saying here is that it's time travel. It's possible that there might be time travelers that are mixing with the Matrix. Okay, let's see. Confubulation is a common symptom of neurological conditions that affect memory, such as Alzheimer's disease, which form of dementia when someone with dementia confubulates, they are lying, attempting to deceive. They simply lack the necessary information or awareness to recall simple memory accuracy. He went off the deep end. He went off the Timu deep end. Priming. In psychology, priming describes a phenomenon in which exposure to a stimulus directly influences the person's response to a subsequent stimulus. For example, if a person reads or hears the word grass, they will recognize another related word as a tree lawnmower more quickly than an unrelated word. Mind games. As I said, I believe the Mandela effect is true, but I believe we have to be fair and give both sides of what they're saying. TJ said, LOL, that's what I remember with the big check. They're just trying to see if we can make us think we're differently. Strand said, nah, it's Looney Tunes, meaning a cartoons, not tunes as music. Google is trying to gaslight Gen X. That's true. Tons of fun carving says, another one freaked me out, alien. I had a dream about a street with a man dressed in black. 3 days later, I was in a different country, and the shiz happened, and I ran like a little girl. Oh, scared. And I believe that there could be signs from God, and that those things could be signs from God telling us things. And that's happened to me too. Tons. That happened to me as well. Like a similar type of situation. Yes, I believe in the butterfly effect. We'll talk about the butterfly effect. Yeah, Stranded, I agree with you. I believe those people are probably on the list too. Alternative realities or parallel universes. Rome describes the Mandela effect as a clear memory of an event that never occurred in his reality. Her explanation ties into several popular theories that suggest that the Mandela effect occurs when our reality interacts with other alternate realities or parallel universes. While these explanations draw real physics theories and they lack scientific support. Oh, we love horror movies here. We talk about them here, and I like making them. I like making little short films and stuff like that. For example, some argue that Mandela effect provides evidence for multiple universes. Some physicists draw the theories such as infinite possible universes. Scientists have not tested the claim that the Mandela effect provides evidence for multiple universes. Evidence from memory research suggests that other theories of false memory might better explain the phenomena. Oh, so many Timu names will be. All right, Stranded. With the Coca-Cola one, there's a little dash in the center, but the other one doesn't have the dash in the center. One of the challenges for false memory is that it presents similar to real memories. A person may be confident in their memory but spontaneously generate details and support. Without external evidence of the memory's false, there may be no evidence for it to be untrue. We will look it up, Anna. We'll look it up. A 2020 paper supports this claim, finding that people are no better than chance at detecting false memories. A person can improve their chances of detecting false memories by consulting reliable sources such as encyclopedias, mainstream news sites, or peer reviewed journals. considering whether they have a memory because someone else had that memory, seeking independent evidence to support the memories the same. She's 89. Scared. How come Simpsons predicted literally like every real life event is a question needing to be answered? Yeah, they're either very in tune with the universe or they got some insider information. All right. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Abby, for the compliment. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, Strainer, thank you. Yeah, it's a good movie. And also, Abby, if I cut out, thanks for the compliment. All right, so let's see. Oh, tons. That would be very sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I know, Tom. I know, but that was the line, probably. In chaos theory, the butterfly effect is a sensitive dependence initial conditions in which a small change in one state of the deterministic non-linear nonlinear system can result in large differences in a later state. Facts, facts. Thanks, Abby. The term is closely. That is great, Moki. I'm glad that you're doing blonde, even more blonde for the summer. That is amazing. Congratulations. Shout out to Summer Moki. Facts. Stranded said, I think the line simply is, I'm your father. Scared. Oh, that's funny, and BK. It's hilarious. In chaos theory, the butterfly effect is a sensitive dependence on initial conditions in which a small change in a state of deterministic nonlinear system can result in a large differences in later state. The term is closely associated with the work of mathematician and meteorologist Edward Norton Lorenz. He noted that the butterfly effect is derived from the example of the details of a tornado. The example of formation, the exact path taken being influenced by a minor perturbations such as distant butterfly flapping its wings several weeks earlier, Lorenz originally used a seagull causing a storm, but was persuaded to make it more poetic with the use of the butterfly or tornado of 1972. He discovered the effect when he observed runs of his weather model with initial condition data that were rounded in a seamlessly inconsequential manner. He noted that the weather model would fall to reproduce the results of the runs with the unrounded initial condition data. A very small change in initial conditions had created different outcomes. Yeah, Moki, that's disgusting. I know. People could argue it's Stockholm syndrome. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, yeah, tons. I would be. I would love to. I like that. Absolutely. Thank you. It's cringe. The idea that small causes may have large effects and weather was earlier acknowledged by the French mathematician and physicist Henri Poincaré. American mathematician philosopher Norbert Wiener also contributed to this theory. Lorenz worked place the concept of instability of Earth's atmosphere into the quantitative base and linked the concept of instability to the properties of large classes, a dynamic system which undergoing nonlinear dynamics and deterministic chaos. Scared. I have enjoyed hanging out with you beautiful people, but gotta go. Mom, now. Have a great evening. See you all tomorrow. Oh, I see you tomorrow, TJ. Peace to you, fam. And thank you for hanging out with us. We love having you. All right, Moki, understood. The concept of the butterfly effect has since been used in the context of weather since as broad term for any situation where a small change is supposed to cause a larger consequence, sort of like a chain reaction. All right, Moki. In the Vocation of Man, 1800, Johann Gottlieb Fritsch says you could not remove a single grain of sand from its place without thereby changing something throughout all parts of the measurable whole. Shout out to Regina. Shout out to Regina. Chaos theory is a sensitive dependence on initial conditions, where described in numerous forms of literature. This is evidenced by the case Three Body Problem by Poincaré in 1980. 1880, I'm being a little bit dyslexic there for a second. 1880, 1890 rather, 1890. Okay, that's when my German great great grandfather came to the United States. All right, so Poincaré, he later proposed that such a phenomena could be common, for example, in meteorology. In 1898, Jacques Hadamard noted general divergence of trajectories in space of negative curvature. Perry Duhem discussed the possible general significance of this in 1908. In 1950, Alan Turing noted the displacement of a single electron by a billionth of a centimeter at one moment might make. Thank you, BK, and everybody that liked the video and subscribed. All right. All right, Moki, peace. See you later. More precisely, though, almost the exact idea of the exact phrasing of a tiny insect's wing affecting the entire atmosphere's winds was published in a children's book which became extremely successful and well known globally. In 1962, the year before Lorenz published. All right, Stranded, good evening to you. And thank you for being here, co-pilot. I appreciate you. Have a good dinner. All right, quote, whatever we do affects everything and everyone else. If even the tiniest way, why when a household fly flaps his wings, a breeze goes around the world? The Princess of Pure Reason. Norton Juster, Phantom Tollbooth. In 1961, Lorenz was running a numerical computer model to redo weather and prediction from the middle of the previous run as a shortcut. He entered the initial condition of 0.56, 0.506 from the printout instead of entering the full precision of 50 point, no, I would say 0.50 value, resulting was completely different weather scenario. Shout out to the lucky hubby with a cocktail. You're awesome. Spaceship drinks on deck. And I'm thankful for all you being here, for my trial chat friends and some people from ABL show and the different streams that I'm on and other people that are subscribed organically. I appreciate everybody that is here and participating, everybody that's lurking. We almost have 100 views, and I appreciate that. And we have a lot of likes, so I appreciate all the positive feedback. Anna, I did not talk about that yet, but we're going to talk about that next, in a moment. Thank you, Abby. The first girlfriend I had was named Abby, by the way. The last one was named Gabby, although it's not the same as Abby, it still has the same Abby prefix in it. So, very nice name. Very lovely name. Tons of fun craving. That doesn't make sense to me. What does 757 airplane do to the atmosphere apart from spraying it? Weather should be wild everywhere. That's a good question, Tons. Now, there is chemtrails that allegedly cause a problem. But yeah, it's a good point. Good night, Lynn. Thank you for coming here. See you later. At one point, I decided. So this is what Lorenz wrote. At one point, I decided to repeat some of the compulations in order to examine what was happening in greater detail. I stopped the computer typed in a line of numbers it had printed out a while earlier and set in running again. I went down the hall from the cup of coffee and returned after about an hour, during which time the computer had simulated about 2 months of weather. The numbers being printed were nothing like the old ones. I immediately suspected a weak vacuum to or some point other computer trouble, which is not uncommon, but before calling service. Hello, Danny. Good to see you, buddy. I decided to see just where the mistake had occurred, knowing that this could speed up the servicing process. Instead of a sudden break, I found that new values at first repeated the old ones, but soon afterward differed by one of then several units of the last decimal place, then began to a differ next to the last place, and then place before that fact. Differences more or less steadily doubled in size everything 4 days or so, until resemblance with the original output disappeared somewhere in the second month. This was enough to tell me that I had happened numbers that I had typed in were not exact original numbers, but were the rounded off values had appeared in the original print out. The initial round off errors were the culprits. They were steadily amplifying until they dominated the solution. So that was the point with that. We'll get into this rock that she wants to talk about for a moment. Yes, tons, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so we have the copy and paste. Anna, can you describe more about the rock? It does have some sort of a power ability to it, you were saying? Let's see, time, travel. I think I found it. I think I found it. Yep. Let's see. We need to have this on the phone. All right, it's gonna be fixed. It's gonna be fixed. We're coming back. We're coming back. All right, we're gonna read this on the phone. All right, hello Remy. Glad to have you back. It's called a standing stone. I like that, tons. I like that. I'm just about to truck into Louisiana, barbecue ribs in Ireland. It's really a small world. Oh yeah, small world. Yeah, definitely. You're welcome, Remy. Time travel. All right. All right. So this is what I think she's talking about, the standing stone. Let's see if this is it. Here we go. Y'all have the stones in Ireland too. Awesome. Standing stone. There's something about an army of stones standing in a field like men who went to fight in battle were frozen in time like children running in the field of play stuck in the mud. Stuck forever, surrounded in the wild landscapes of Scotland. Scottish landscape. There's something mystical about standing stones, gazing up at them. You wonder if they were ever once more than a stone. Okay, craving, understood. Carving, not craving, but carving. Pardon me. In in a way, they are and always have been more than standing stones. Today, people flock to see these incredible monuments, civilization from Stonehenge to England to Cowan, standing stones in Orkney. All right, let's read about it. Let's see. All right, let's talk about Stonehenge. That seems to be the common denominator. Okay, let's go on the computer and we'll put the Stonehenge. 100 views. Awesome. All right, tons. All right, tons. All right, let's look that up. The Witch's Stone. All right, there's something called the Witch's Stone. Let's see what this is about. This odd-shaped lump on the ground is the Witch's Stone. In Fories, you can probably tell from the name it is going to have a pleasant story. Local legend and the Wee sign claims that those charged with the witchcraft were put in barrels which they were then riddled with spikes and rolled down the Cunley Hill, which rises just behind the spot where the barrels stopped. The witch was then buried. All right, Joyce. Have a great night to you. See you tomorrow. Hopefully. somewhere. Or if not, whenever we see you again, Pete, be glad to see you. Right. This stone is said to have been stopping point for one of those barbaric barrels. Punishment even. Oh yes, Anna. Okay. Oh yeah. This stone is said to have been the stopping point for one of those barbaric barrels. Punishment, or even just questioning of those accused of witchcraft, was nice, but this would have been particularly brutal act. Yeah, Remy, I don't. I'm with you on that, but I just don't really know for certain if it is or if it isn't. But I get it. I get it. Like, there's one of my friends told me religion and science would both agree that it wouldn't happen, but as I said, I I just at some point in the future are they able to do it, and where the Mandela effect is that some part of it? I don't know, but I don't know how likely it is. And Remy, you're probably mostly right, but as I said, I don't. I believe you're right. I'm not too certain technically about it though. It's kind of up in the air. The reason for the three pieces, some cheapskate decided to break it up and use it as the wall of his new house. Terribly ill, and finger was pointed at the obvious cursed stone. Yes, Remy. All right. So basically, the ancient Celtic people and the also in the Anglo Saxons came there too. Come on. When the All right, I'm gonna have to read this on the phone then. This is causing the stream to go down. All right. All right, everybody, I'm back. It went out for a moment. Yeah, that's true. Trump is up there. Yeah, Musk and Trump are up there. Yeah. I know Crazy Anna is at it again, but I don't care. When I disappear, you'll believe. Scared. Scared. All right, so we're going to talk about the Witch's Stone. Okay. So, yes, the ancient Celtic people, before Christianity came to the part of the world, is basically they were pagans and they were Druids. Yeah, they were Druids and they were pagans before Christianity came to the island. So that's why you would have a lot of this witchcraft stuff. And also, Anna, you could believe whatever you want, and we could learn something new. And thank you for sharing your information. You're not crazy. You're all right. You're all good. All right. One of the darkest stories in forests has to tell the tale of Witch's Stone. Situated just meters from the police station, An inchoate boulder lies jammed between the pavement and the wall of the road, signifying the spot where a witch gruesomely met her deletion. Abby, it's noted, understood your position on the matter. And yeah, it could be a very cringe situation with the politics. Very cringe situation. Yeah. Scared. Scared. Timu Durids. Unfortunately, the grisly description that marks this particular episode was just one of the thousand of undocumented tales of the horrific treatment of women received mostly in the 16th century for participating witchcraft. It thought that more than 4,000 witches were deleted in Moray during the 16th century. Fairy forts. Thanks. Okay. Right. Yeah, exactly, Remy. Correct. I'm related to the Celtic people a little bit. Well, I don't know how much, but I'm related to them quite a bit. And also the other people from the British Isles. I'm related to the British Isles and everything that went there. Yeah, Danny. So basically, with the Stonehenge allegedly was created there. I saw one story that Merlin got these giants to put them together allegedly, and Merlin is a folklore. It's not necessarily historically true, but they allegedly had them build it. Yes, giants build it. Yes. Yes, and exactly. I'm glad to talk about witches and stones. May we all be stoned in peace. Stoned out of our minds. Yeah, saggy laggy. The boulder is marked with a plaque that reads from Clunley Hill witches were rolled in stout barrels through which spikes were driven. Where the barrels stopped, they were burned with their mangled contents. The stone marks the site of such burnings. The horrific burning and punishment of witches in centuries gone by its not forgotten but particular stone is daily reminder that witches were tried and punished in this gruesome manner. Witchcraft is a form of misogyny. Yeah, a lot of times there was women that weren't doing witchcraft, but they were doing something else. But then they were executed for something they didn't do. Right. Stonehenge is owned by a millionaire. Oh, okay. Danny says they could have fit some double glazing. It's about a bit open. Oh well, yeah, yeah, exactly. It was originally bigger, Stonehenge. It was like it had a roof on it at one time. I think it was a building at one time. We could build a Timu Stonehenge. Yeah. Scared. Siege. The story goes that Boulder was taken to be used in nearby house build, and cracked into smaller pieces. A feverish illness beset the taker, who was thought was cursed, and look at the boulder was back where it lay. The risk of moving it again is perhaps the reason it is so unprecisely lodged where it is when the wall pavement were built in latter times. someone took greater care to ensure the stone wasn't disturbed further, and the wall of pavement steered around the object. Exactly, Regina, scapegoat. Yes, witchcraft is a religion also. Exactly, witchcraft is a religion also. And there is witches and people that practice sorcery. You can see on the internet. Also, literally, like there's people that have done like witchcraft videos and stuff. It's a big clock. Yeah, yeah. It's also like a sundial. Virtual 360 tour. All right. All right. So that is the story of this witchcraft. Oh yeah, Remy. That is true. They would do that. Yeah. Yeah. Time travel clock. Yeah. Scared. A witch's stone is a stone with naturally occurring hole through the center believed to have protective qualities. Oh, I'm going to tell you all this. It's hard for me to tell the difference between a donut and a coffee cup, a coffee mug. I wonder if y'all would get this, and I'll explain what it means. Abby, I agree. That was wrong, and those people were in error for doing that. Because it's like, and if people want to practice some dark craft, just let them do their thing as long as they're not hurting anybody. Just they should be left alone. Exactly. Strong woman who said no. Exactly. You're welcome, Anna. All right, so how do you tell? It's like I tell you that a donut and a coffee mug are the same thing. It's hard for me to tell the difference. All right, let's look up this definition. Let's see if I got this one right. So, let's see. Oh, more. If I remember this correctly, is that right? All right. So, an isomorphism in mathematics, an isomorphism is a structure preserving mapping or morphism between two structures of the same type that can be revised by an inverse mapping. The two mathematical structures are isomorphic. If isomorphism exists between them, the word is described from ancient Greece, isos equal, and morph shape. It's basically while studying about manifolds, and there's different types of manifolds, and it's basically like there you could have shapes that look the same way, but they're two different things, but they look the same and have the similar functions. And basically, we're going to look this up to show the example. Let's see. A from typologically. All right, so what do I mean when I say that a coffee mug and a donut are the same thing? According to topological analysis, the shape of a coffee mug and a donut share the same basic form, and they both are centered around a hole, and we're not constrained by properties of the materials. One could be reshaped into the other, a little like Play-Doh in mathematical mind. So a coffee mug and a donut are the same thing. Like you can shape shift and morph a coffee mug into a donut. And then you could do the same thing vice versa. So those two things are like the same thing. Also, chat. I agree with chat. Very good points. And yes, Remy, I understand you don't want them attacking you, and I don't blame you. I don't want to be around that either. All right, Abby says, for real, eerie the times back then. Think of countries like Afghanistan where women can't show their face now, risk being deleted and exists. And Remy says, right, they're not mental either. It's just strong women, and that's the Taliban, not Afghanistan. And then or piss off the wealthy husband with social media influence is easy pick for women. Abby, now fine, we're able to be first to be accused. Yeah, they're gonna try to. I'm not gonna let them witch hunt the spaceship cadet ladies in the chat. We're not gonna let that happen. The incel saggy trolls that burn women at the stake, they're not gonna win. They can't even get a girlfriend. So they have to burn people at the stake, but it's not going to work out. Nope. Me and Abby burned alive. Scared. I'm scared. $107 views. Shout out to everybody that's viewing. Alrighty. Stonehenge is prehistoric megalithic structure on Salisbury Plain in Wiltshire, England, 2 miles west of Amesbury. It consists of an outer ring of vertical Saracen standing stones, each around 13 feet high, 7 feet wide, and weighing around 25 tons of top by connecting horizontal lintel stones held in place with mortises and tenon joints, a feature unique among contemporary. Yeah, the scared is iconic. Scared. Mom, monuments. Inside is a ring smaller than the blue stones. Inside these stones are freestanding trihons and bulkier vertical Saracen joints by one lintel. The whole monument, now ruinous, is alleged towards the sunrise, the summer solstice, and the sunset winter solstice. Stones with the earthworks and middle densest complex Neolithic Bronze Age monuments, England, including several hundred of tumuli. Oh, you don't believe in the death penalty, Remy? I didn't know that. What's the difference between stoning someone and frying someone to deletion or lethal injection? All barbaric. I agree, Remy. All those are barbaric. I definitely agree with that. Now, okay, with the death penalty, I didn't believe in it. People like Ted Bundy or people that do really, really horrible crimes, I think there are exceptions with a death penalty. Maybe most situations you wouldn't have a death penalty, but I believe there could be some exceptions, in my opinion. But I could be wrong, though. It's just that some of these serial deleters are very evil people. All right, Remy, understood. Understood. I don't believe in eye for an eye. I don't believe that. All right. And also, when they do a death penalty, it doesn't bring the people back. It wouldn't bring anyone back. And I agree with you, Remy, about the we shouldn't have an eye for an eye. I do agree with that. That's the same. Being against an eye for an eye. That's the same values we have. Yes. I. I wouldn't say it as a revenge thing, but the person can keep getting out and stuff. But I understand the death penalty. As usually very rare situations you could have it, but I understand where you're coming from, Remy. You should check out Paul Cook on YouTube. He finds places in the hidden England. Oh, I'll certainly check him out. Thank you. Regina says, I was 15 when Gary Gilmore was executed by firing squad in Utah in 1977. My dad picked me up in the school. We listened to the play by play. Right. But taxpayers pay the house of those evil people. Right. Right. Abby says, I feel your side though. Trust me, nobody has the right to play God. Even it's hard. I tested in between depending on the case. Remy says, I just can't justify it. Just keep them locked up. But yes, there are exceptions to everything. And Remy, my buddy that talked about aliens with, he also doesn't believe in the death penalty, like you. And I think life in prison may be even worse than death. Being in prison the rest of your life, I think, could be even worse. So, I understand. And BK says, do you know how expensive it is to house individuals in prison? I don't know, but I'm sure it's quite costly. And Trump's biatch ass wants open Alcatraz. Oh, Abby, I saw that. I saw that. I think Trump says a lot of things to start or get a reaction out of people. Because when he says something crazy, the media goes and covers it, and it gives him more publicity. I think he says stuff for shock value sometimes. Yeah, but yeah, it's wild. Oh yeah, Remy. It would be nice, Remy, if we have a system where we could prevent crime before it happens. And Ton says there's a place in England that has walls like the big ancient cities in Peru. Ah, interesting. An interesting correlation. BK said it's get attention off something else. Right, right. As I said, with people, it's good if we had a system that could prevent crime before it happens. You know, that people could have a system where they wouldn't be prone to committing crimes in the first place. I think that's very important. Hello, Toby. Welcome to the room. All right. Oh, he made a movie like that. Very cool. Very cool. Oh, I love Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. So you had Mission Impossible, and it was originally a TV show. I watched the reruns, and I still watch them on Sundays. And it was Mission Impossible was this show with Peter Graves, and they were spies trying to get with the Soviet Union. They're trying to dismantle the Soviet Union. So then you had Tom Cruise's movie Mission Impossible. It was supposed to be where Jim Phelps betrays the team allegedly, and then he goes and Tom Cruise takes the new spot, and Peter Graves didn't act in it. John Voight had to do it because he was very angry at that role because he didn't think his character would do that. But they had to figure out a way to delete the character off because Peter Graves wouldn't be doing it anymore because of his age. But so, yeah, Tom Cruise took it over. So the TV show and the movie are both connected. They're like sequels to each other. So yeah, I think Tom Cruise is a great actor, and I like him in Mission Impossible. Hello, Zero, yeah. Oh, it happened. I figured it would. Now, soon I'll be ending it, actually. But, we're still here for the moment. Yeah, right on you, Regina. Anyone know the name of the movie with the pre-crime people? I'm not too sure what you're talking about. Oh, okay, Zero. The boom from the sun. That's what I thought you were talking about. Let's show some context. All right, chat. What are we talking about? Let's go. All right, so we have that. Put this to the side right here. Oh, put this right here. And there we go. So, hello, G. Great to see you. I'm glad you're able to make it. All right. So this is what Zero was talking about, that there's going to be this pulse from the sun that was going to hit our planet. And this, this solar wave was going to hit us, and it could cause problems with, hypothetically, with earthquakes, with volcanoes. Maybe it could hurt telecommunication and stuff like that. So that is what something is occurring at the moment. It's coming from the sun, at the right side of the sun. All right. All right. And Zero's saying, you need to see this. I'm going to drop a link. Start the video over. Do not show the audience. Okay, I won't show the audience. Okay. All right. All right. So that's the thing from the sun. Okay, there we go. All right, here I go. I am back. Okay. And put this way. So we have this with Stonehenge. G says, thank you. Just wanted to support and listen. So proud of your channel. Thank you, G. I am so finally glad to see you at this live. It's been, I've always wanted you to come here. So thank you for your support. All right. Scared. It's all right, Zero. It's always nice when you derail something because it's something productive. Stonehenge is a prehistoric megalithic structure in Wiltshire, England, 2 miles west of Amesbury. It consists of an outer ring of vertical Saracen standing stones, each around 13 feet. High 7 feet, wide and weighing around 25 tons, topped by a connecting horizontal intel stones held in place with mortises and tension joints, featuring the unique among contemporary monuments. All right, and looking at this. Did I see the blast? I was in here. So I may have not seen the blast. And earlier today I was outside, but I did see the sun being very bright, but I don't think I saw anything necessarily out the ordinary. And maybe I did see it and I don't know how to tell the difference. Now, Zero, what would a blast look like? Thank you. Inside the ring, smaller blue stones inside. Thank you, G. Thank you, G. I'm glad that you're ready to learn. Oh, okay, Zero. I'll look at it. I'll look at it. Ah, okay now. Oh, Lord. It happened. It's a whole live stream going on. Alright. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Oh, that's cool, Zero. That's cool. Yeah, Zero, I saw it. It's very serious. Very serious. Yes, Remy, like that. Hello, Mary Toodles. Yeah. Yes, Zero. Yes, yes, I saw it. Yes, student for life. Facts. What? I know. Got over 100 views. Monument inside the ring of small blue stone. Inside these are freestanding trilithons who bulker vertical Saracens joint by one lintel. The whole monument, now ruinous, is aligned toward the sunrise on the summer solstice and the sunset on the winter solstice. The stones are set within earthworks and middle densest Neolithic Bronze Age monuments in England, including several hundred tumuli, mounds. Toby, I taught Game Catches Up how to make a channel. Shout out to him. He does a 3D. He paints 3D models and he talks in his stream. He's a cool dude. That's a good channel to watch. Also, I helped other people before. I could teach you everything how to do it, and we'll definitely watch you. Stonehenge was constructed in several phases, beginning about 3100 BC and continuing until about 1600 BC. The famous circle of large Saracen stones were placed between 2600 BC and 2400 BC. The surrounding circular earth and ditch constitutes earliest phase and monument have been dated back to 3100 BC. Radiocarbon dating suggests the blue stones were given their current positions between 2400 and 2200 BC, although they may not be at the site early 300 BC. Yes, that's true. Yes. And that's good for them to be united. I think that's a good thing. One of the most famous landmarks in the United Kingdom, Stonehenge, is regarded as a British cultural icon. It has been a legally protected scheduled monument since Ancient Monuments Protection Act of 1882 was passed. The site and surroundings were added to UNESCO's list of worldwide heritage sites. In 1986, Stonehenge is owned by the Crown and managed by English Heritage, and surrounding land owned by the National Trust. Toby said, I don't want to be a presence on the channel, just stream the feeds and moderate the chat manually as possible. Toby, you can do that. For instance, if I turn off the microphone, like, for instance, I'll give you all a demonstration. I go turn off the microphone, I'll go over here to this screen, right, and say I would turn off the microphone on my end, you wouldn't hear me. But you would have some other mechanism where it could hear your computer, like the audio from your computer could be heard digitally, and they'll just hear that and not hear you, and you would have your screen displayed about what you want to show them. So that is an example, like you could do that. Absolutely. A great idea. All right. Now, Remy says that a man owns Stonehenge, and that this article is wrong. All right, understood. Scared. Well, this site is known to have reliable articles. I'm being sarcastic. So. All right, early history. Now, they say that Merlin had this constructed with giants, but as I said, that's just that's a kind of I believe that Merlin King Arthur are probably real, but technically, historically speaking, it's a legend that may not or may not be true. Mike Parker, not Persian, but Pearzon, leader of Stonehenge Riverside Project based around Drungton Walls, noted that Stonehenge appears to have been associated with burial of the earliest period of its existence. I'll teach you, Regina, all night long. We'll do this. Scared. Stonehenge was placed on a burial from its beginning to its zenith. The mid-3rd millennium BC cremation burial dating to Stonehenge Saracen stone phases is likely just one of the many of the monuments used to demonstrate that it was still very much a domain for the dead. Now, Toby, for free, you could email me. Go to the, for me specifically, go to the information page. Like, so, like, you go to, like, click on my YouTube page, and on the about section, there's the email for free. I'll give you all this information for free. I've done it before. I've helped other content creators create streams for free. Just in case that didn't go through the way I wanted it to go through, because it may have buffered. All right. Yeah, you could email me in the about section of the channel. I'll send you the links to the videos on how to use the software and stuff like that. All right. Stonehenge evolved in several construction phases spanning at least 1,500 years. There is evidence of large-scale construction in around the monument that perhaps extends the landscape's time to frame 650 years, no, 6,500 years, dating and understanding the various phases of activity are complicated by disturbance of the natural chalk by effects and animal burrowing, poor quality excavation records, and a lack of accurate scientifically verified dates. The modern phasing, most generally agreed by archaeologists, is detailed between the features of mentioned in the text, numbered and shown on the plane right. Before the monument, from 8000 BC. Archaeologists have found possibly 5 large Mesolithic post holes. One may have been a natural tree throw which dates around 8000 BC beneath the nearby old tourist car park use until 2013. These held pine posts around 2 feet 6 inches in diameter, which erected and eventually rotted in place. 3 of the posts, and possible 4, were in an east-west alignment, which may have had ritual significance. Another Mesolithic astronomical site in Britain is Warrenfield in Aberdeenshire, which is considered the world's oldest lunisolar calendar, corrected yearly by observing the midwinter solstice. Similar but latter sites have been found in Scandinavia. Settlement that may have been contemporaneous posts between the Blick Med and the reliable spring of the Stonehenge. Regina says, Toby, I want to talk about politics, conspiracy stuff, and tin hat scenarios and wisdom from me. Oh, absolutely, Regina. I'll certainly teach you about that. All right. So I'll say right now what I could tell the people. All right. So go over here. All right. So basically, software I use is OBS. Regina, that's what ABL uses. He taught me on the show a couple years ago how to do streaming, and I did it. All right, so yeah, you need like a camera, which you don't have to have the most expensive webcam, and I have a Tonar microphone, but you don't have to. It's not expensive. And then you have with OBS, there's these tutorials on how to do the OBS tutorial website. What I could do right now is I could link about OBS and how to use it for Regina, anybody else that wants to use it. I would like the TV show called Team Alien. It's archaeological show of old English sites. Very entertaining. Thank you. All right. Okay. So let's go here. Put some links. I did this for Miranda. I remember. Come on. All right, Remy. All right, Abby. Good night to you.
You're okay, Bells.
All right. Let's see. OBS. All right. Make sure this works. All right. Set up audio with OBS. Live streaming chats with OBS. All right. And let's go to the OBS website. This is the streaming software that's used for streaming. There's other ones to use, but this is the one I use. Do it a little bit of a different way. Do this. Okay. And go here. All right. And also there's a certain setting to put on the YouTube Studios. I'll throw this in there too. How about this? Let's see. All right, Regina said she'll email me. Okay. All right. I'll tell you more in the email. All right. You're welcome, BK. I'm glad you enjoyed my stream. Being a little, I'm like off topic right now. I'm off topic. I'm looking at some. Okay, so Hayden Christensen reunites with her Padme, and they're like taking a picture. That's so cool. That's what I'm like. That's what I'm looking at. But I'm supposed to be streaming. Yeah. So he's like swagging. He has like his Yeezys on, and he has his hat and everything. It's pretty cool. All right. Anyway, back to the stream. All right. San Francisco. That sounds like a cool idea, Anna. Wow. You're watching the Ed Kemper movie. Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're here, True Crime. Let's see. Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, so something interesting right here. So I'm going to go here. Something I've talked about before is the. Yeah, there we go. Come on. All right, here we go. All right. Now, this is about the legend of King Arthur, which I talk about in this channel periodically. There's a prophecy about his return, and this is all a legend. So, King Arthur never was deleted, but is awaiting his return in some remote spot. Often sleeping is central motif connected to the Arthurian legends. Before the 12th century, there are, as in Englenion, reference to the absence of grave for Arthur, suggesting that he was considered immortal and not deleted. With this poem, there is no indication that he was expected to return. Looking for the movie, Anna. Thank you. And Regina, OBS is free. It's a free application that you use to stream a live stream. So OBS is an application the ABL uses and I use to put the stream out. So you have an app and you say, go stream, and you have it scheduled on YouTube, and it feeds it to the YouTube channel, to the YouTube live stream channel. So no, it's free. From early 12th century onwards, several sources report the popular belief in the return of King Arthur, although most often critically and mockingly presented. His future return is first mentioned by William of Malmesbury in 1125, but King Arthur's grave is nowhere to be seen, whence Antiquity of the Fables suggests still claims that he will return. The miracle of Saint Mary of Leon, Miraculous Sacantiae Maria Laudonicius, written in French and cleric and chronic name of Herman of Tirani. About 1145, but referencing to the events occurring in 1113, mentioning Breton Cornish beliefs and Arthur still lived. In 1191, alleged tomb of Arthur was identified and orchestrated discovery at Glensbury Abbey, whereas numerous scholars have argued that this could have been due to Abbey wanting a rival figure who inspired tenacious Celtic opposition to their rule. It may be motivated by how Arthurian expectations were highly problematic to contemporary Christianity. Although, yeah, King Arthur and Merlin were both Christians in legend. The longing of the return of the mighty immortal figure, returning before the end of time, reestablished his perfect rule, not only ran by basic Catholic tenets, but could also be threatened to the focus on the return of Jesus. This was further aggravated by how the stories about Arthur sometimes invoked more emotions than biblical tales. Decades of elites critique the popular conviction among otherwise populist Catholic Celts in Britain and Brittany had done nothing more than to suppress these beliefs, whereas the orchestration of Arthur's physical remains effectively eliminated the possibility of his return without overly criticizing anyone's belief. After 1191 discovery of his alleged tomb, Arthur became more of a figure of folk legends found sleeping in various remote caves all over Britain and some other places at the times, roaming the nights as a spectre like the Wild Hunt. Remy, I suspect there's a financial challenge in using the feeds. However, for chanting mine, one of the most chat let folks split screen with another channel for visuals. It's a good idea. There's a tomb of Merlin in Brittany. That's true. Alien, let's plan out. Yeah. Seems expensive. I'd be happy to have a private Zoom group if need such other faces. Yeah, Anna, I think a Zoom group, doing it from online would be the best way to go. For now, yeah. Hilarious. Now, Merlin, the way Merlin was born, his father was a demon, or somewhat of the Watchers in Legends, and his mother was human, so he was half demon. And he decided to devote himself to Christianity and use the supernatural abilities he had for good. The earliest literary reference to Arthur comes from the Welsh Breton sources. There have been a few attempts to define the nature and character of Arthur in the pre-Galdefarian tradition as the whole rather than in a single text type story. In 2007, academic survey led by Calton Green has identified three key standards to portrayal of Arthur in the earliest material. The first is that he was peerless warrior who functioned as the monster hunting protector of Britain from all internal and external threats. Some of these are human threats, such as Saxons. He fights in the Historia Britannium, but the majority are supernatural, including giant cat monsters. You heard it right. Cat monsters, destructive divine boars, dragons, dog heads, giants, witches. And the second of the pre-Gandalf, I'm thinking of Gandalf, but Galfredian Arthur was a figure of folklore, particularly topographic, onomastic folklore. The localized magical wonder tales, the leader of the band of supernatural heroes. I don't like the paragraph. There are no dates as to when these legends were told. Now, you see, Toby, this is how it works. So, Gorafy took these accounts from... Remember, Toby, it's a legend that a lot of people, historians, think was not even true, okay? So, for you to be suspicious about you have a right to be suspicious about them. Now, Gorafy copied these from other manuscripts that came before this. But where they came from is unknown. This information, the origins could have been lost. But there are dates, but there's estimated dates when these were written originally. But in this, it's not shown in this specific instant, in this specific paragraph. But there are dates when these allegedly occurred. But they were copied from other legends of folklore from the region. So to prove or disprove it is up in the air. It's kind of like a hung jury. The burden of proof isn't really there either way, to prove it or disprove it. But very good point right there. The dates are important to have. On one hand, he launches assaults on otherworldly fortresses and such treasure and frees their prisoners. On other, his war band in the earliest sources include the former pagan gods and his wife and his possessions, clearly otherworldly origin. Yeah, the sword and the stone. Yes. Other early Welsh Arthurian texts include a poem found in the Black Book of Camerthine, Pagur, YV Pathar. What man is the gatekeeper? This takes the form of a dialogue between Arthur and the gatekeeper of the fortress he wishes to enter, in which Arthur recounts the names and deeds of himself and his men, notably Kay and Bedivere. In addition to these pre-Galfordian Welsh poems and tales, Arthur appears in some other early Latin texts besides Historia Britannium. Toby says the next paragraph is better. The 6th century. Wikipedia can be a reader written pain in the butt. Yes. Was Arthur real? Does it matter? It's in the eye of the beholder if it matters or not. Sometimes I like to make reference to certain conspiracy theories with Arthur. And Arthur, was he real or not? We don't know. Historians usually say no, but it's up in the air. It just depends if it matters or not. It doesn't matter if he's real or if he isn't real. I don't think it matters, Toby. I think that it's just a very cool story to tell, and there's a lot of interesting life lessons and morals that could be taught from it. It doesn't matter if it was real or not. No, it's good we have the story though. For those that want to make reference to it. All right. So, according to the life of Saint Gildas, written in the early 12th century, Cardioc of Lane Caffrian, Arthur is said to have deleted Gildia's brother Hewel and to have rescued his wife Gridufar from Gradsbury in the life of Saint Caradoc around 1100, a little before the Liffars of Carfian. Saint gives protection to a man who deleted three of Arthur's soldiers, and Arthur demands the herd of cattle of Wergeld. In Caradoc of these demands, but Arthur takes possession of the animals. They turn into bundles of ferns. A similar incident and described in medieval biographies of Carenton, Pardon, and Elfman. Elf-Aim. Properly written in the 12th century, a less generally accounted Arthur appears in legendary Sacrati Gonzalvi, which often claim to date early 11th century, although the text to date to the 15th century text now dated to the 12th century. Also important are the references to Arthur in Melbury's De Gestis Regium Augrium, Herman's De Mercurialis Scantiae, I'm butchering this probably, Mariae, which together provide the first certain evidence for the belief that Arthur was not actually deleted and would at some point return, a theme that is revised in a post-Gelderific folklore. Tom says the legend of him was a genius threat to the order of the Anglos were trying to bring. So real is an anatomical sense. Toby says, I tend to believe in legends that last have a kernel of truth and center. Noah, Jesus, Arthur, Beowulf, Robin Hood. I like Beowulf. That's another... Oh, I talk about Beowulf on here too. So there is this Nephilim type creature called Grendel, and he was terrorizing the mead halls. And so Grendel would be some sort of a Nephilim creature that was... His descendants survived the Great Flood. They also talk about Christianity and their gods, so they believed in both of them interchangeably, it seems. And also what we did was we studied about that. And yeah, Beowulf's a great tale. And with a sword and a shield in the story, he was able to defeat a dragon. That's quite incredible. Yeah, so we talk about Beowulf too. It has to do with the conspiracy theories also we mentioned on the channel. All right. 113 views. Lord. All right. All right, now I'll say this is that we've reached the end of the show. So I'm glad for all of you that came here and hung out with me the past few hours. And I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad to see the new faces, and thanks to Remy and GSI8 and the people that came here and participated to this stream. And Toby and everybody, appreciate the dialogue between all of our different views and stuff. Very cool. Yeah, so we'll see about how the trials go tomorrow. If they show the stabbing trial, the other channels, or if they show the Karen Reed or not, we'll have to wait and see. And I'll be continuing to research the situation with Diddy. I'm also very interested in that. And Toby says, right now, the last generation of people who knew Lawrence of Arabia, as real person, has died. We're seeing the legend evolve as must for the people of Robin Hood. Very interesting. Toby, that's very great. Very interesting. If I totally agree. Steve. Oh, Steve. I was wondering where you've been, brother. Brother, I've been wondering where you've been at. Steve, we will do a redo of this stream with you there, okay? We'll do that. And I might, you know, we'll do a late night stream. It's not maybe necessarily tonight, but some point soon we'll do a late night live. Oh, true crime. We talked about that yesterday with Jack and Lily. We talked about that yesterday, I think. It was them you're referring to, but I've not covered it extensively, but it's something we need to do. But we will do another one, Steve, with you there. Steve, I hope you've been having a good day today, brother. I'm glad that you've been, participating in the channel, and I'm glad that you came here and were able to come see the end. Well, you're welcome, Anna. And also, yeah, Steve, yeah, sounds good. All right, Steve, we'll see you on the next one, Steve. All right. And all right, everybody. All right, G, I'm glad you enjoyed it as well. All right. And everybody, have a great evening. See some of you all at the trials tomorrow and other streams. And let's see, peace.